Thank you for joining me today. Well, today it is Friday, and it's October the 9th, so everybody's excited about Friday and end of a work week, end of a school week, and you've got your Saturday and Sunday before you. So we hope you have a great Saturday and Sunday, and whatever it is you do, or you do nothing. But of course, on church, we hopefully you can attend church, and hopefully that's beginning to get better for many people, at least to attend inside their own church buildings. But we'll see how that goes, of course. And this is the end of a week, so this is the end of our series for this week. We really started on Tuesday, and so this is really a four-part series about lessons from King Hezekiah. So if it is your custom to follow with me in the Bible, we're going to be in Isaiah chapter 39, and we're going to look at all 8 verses here. And the key verse is verse number 8. But we started on Monday with basically the theme for the rest of October, and then the first 3 days of November. This basically lines up, of course, with Election Day. So let me say this here before we get into the devotion itself. I'm urging everybody out there that if there's any inclination to not vote, then I'm going to ask you to vote. I think you're going to be doing the right thing. I think it's what God wants you to do. It's certainly the right thing as an American, and God doesn't want you to do anything that'd be contrary to His will or His work or anything like that. But I think you having a voice in your country, especially when you could choose to either make it a better country or it would be a worse nation. It's going to be worse or better depending on your vote or your non-vote. And I mean that because there's a lot of big things at stake, and so we'll talk more about that as we get to the month. But at any rate, Isaiah 39, we're going to look at King Hezekiah and to look at really what was a mistake. I don't like to end a Friday or a theme on a mistake that someone makes, but I think it's important because God put these in here for us to learn, and I think it's important for us to see the truth of it today, and especially how it will line up with with our country itself during these days. Okay, so Isaiah 39. I'm going to read all 8 verses. It is a short chapter, but it goes like this: At that time, Merodach-Baladan, the son of Baladan, king of Babylon, sent letters and a present to Hezekiah, for he had heard that he had been sick and was recovered. And Hezekiah was glad of them, and showed them the house of his precious things, the silver and the gold, and the spices, and the precious ointment, and all the house of his armor, and all that was found in his treasures. There was nothing in his house, nor in all his dominion, that Hezekiah showed them not. Then came Isaiah the prophet unto King Hezekiah, and said unto him, What said these men? And from whence came they unto thee? And Hezekiah said, They are come from a far country unto me, even from Babylon. Then said he, What have they seen in thine house? And Hezekiah answered, All that is in mine house have they seen. There is nothing among my treasures that I have not shown them. Then said Isaiah to Hezekiah, Hear the word of the Lord of hosts. Behold, the days come that all that is in thine house, and that which thy fathers have laid up in store until this day, shall be carried to Babylon. Nothing shall be left, saith the Lord, and of thy sons that shall issue from thee, which thou shalt beget, shall they take away, and they shall be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon. Now notice what Hezekiah says in response to what Isaiah just said to him. Then said Hezekiah to Isaiah, Good is the word of the Lord which thou hast spoken. He said, moreover, For there shall be peace and truth in my days. Hezekiah, he went through a tremendous event where King Sennacherib said he was going to destroy Jerusalem, or at least take it by force, and King Sennacherib obviously said it's better for you to surrender because there's no way you're going to get out of this. But he did. Of course, God delivered him from that. Then Hezekiah was told that he was going to die, and then of course Hezekiah prayed, and the Lord said, I'm going to give you 15 more years. And that's enough for somebody to go through. Obviously, I mean, man, it is tremendous. And then all of a sudden, these people show up from Babylon. Okay. And King Hezekiah shows them everything that he has. I mean, everything. And Isaiah gets word of it and says, Who are these people? What did they say to you? What did you show them? And Hezekiah said, I've showed them everything. And then it's interesting that Isaiah said, Well, there's going to come a day that everything that you showed them, Babylon, the country of Babylon, is going to take all of that. And the sons that you're going to beget, they're going to take them away. They're going to be eunuchs. They're going to be slaves, basically, in Babylon. And what was Hezekiah's response? He said, Well, good is the word of the Lord. There's going to be peace in my days. So here's the lesson for us today, and I'm going to say it quickly, but I think, to me, it seems kind of obvious. Hezekiah, all that he went through, and of course, as he prayed to God, God heard his prayer and honored that, and then all of a sudden, these people from Babylon show up. After being delivered from the king of Assyria and all that, situation than these people from Babylon come, which eventually is going to be the people, just like the Lord said that would through Nebuchadnezzar would finally put an end to Israel and Judah completely. But that being said, what was Hezekiah's response? What was his attitude? Well, it's okay as long as I'm doing good. But you know, his sons was going to pay a heavy price. The entire nation would. And I'm afraid today that there's people that think as long as things are going okay in their day, then, you know, well, the next generation, you're just going to have to fend for yourself. I don't think that's the proper attitude at all. You know, when I was a kid, I remember growing up and we heard sermons, and a lot of the sermons seemed to be about the second coming of Christ. I understood that, and a lot of people believed in that day. We're just going to say when I was a kid, the 70s, you know, there was all this preaching and probably you know, these kids that sit here in this church are not going to grow up. The Lord's going to come back. And there was almost a little bit of an attitude that, you know, preparing for the future may not be that important because they're not really going to have a future. And here I am. Here it is, 2020. So we're just going to say, as I was talking earlier this week about my influence, the patriotic influence, when I was at least, I can go back to 5th grade. And that was 1976. Now look, the Lord didn't come back. The Lord could have come back then. He can come back now at any time, and I believe that. However, I believe there's people that our children, your children, the children that surround us, and if they grow up and we've not prepared them properly, we've not done the right thing to help them have something that we give them, then if we're not careful, we take the attitude that Hezekiah said, well, as long as things are good in my day, or as long as I can get through it, then so be it. Well, I don't think that's the proper attitude. And I think specifically in regards to this election process, when someone says, well, you know, I've voted in the past, I've done my part, you know, I put the energy in, the time, whatever you want to call it, okay, fine. You may not be able to put all the energy you used to could, and I understand that, and there's things you may not can do that you used to do, but to be disinterested and disengaged and to say, well, I'm not going to vote, or it doesn't really matter because I'm old enough, you know, it's whatever these negatives that everybody keeps talking about, well, if they come, then, you know, they won't be in my days probably. Well, look, they're going to be in your children's day, and they could be in your grandchildren's day, so we need to prepare, do the right thing, vote, help people understand what's at stake, do what you can. I know there's a lot of negativity out there, but there is the truth. No matter how much negative goes on around us, there still is the truth. There still is the right people to put in office of the choices that we have. And some of those choices are not as bad as even the people who say they are, that are trying to come across from what I'm going to say, quote unquote, the Christian mindset. There's some good people out there that have a Christian testimony. And but all that to say, don't be disengaged. Don't take Hezekiah's attitude. Well, you know, in my days, as long as there's peace and truth, then so be it. But Isaiah told him, look, your sons are going to lose their home. You're basically going to lose your nation. All these things you showed them, all these precious things that some of the people before you had put in the temple and all of that, that's all going to be gone. And the people you just invited in to let them see that's the people who's going to take it. So we've got to be careful. Look, if you're not up on the issues, I think you can quickly go out there and you can find some right places to get your information. But there's a pretty big difference between what's being offered on each side. There's a side I think you need to vote for to help extend America, help America be what it needs to be, not only for you, but how about your children and your grandchildren? And these young people that are growing up, and we want them to have a better America than just simply doing nothing at all and saying, well, if the bad times come, so be it. So I've gone a little bit more lengthy today than I have been the previous 2 or 3 days, but I believe in what I'm doing. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't. There's a lot of people probably are saying perhaps the same thing. If they are, they are. But I've got a few people that have my ear, and again, if you want to share this, but I'm very serious about this. Hezekiah was a good man, there's no doubt about it. And he was delivered from King Sennacherib and the entire nation going down, and he was delivered from his own personal death when God gave him 15 years. However, he did have the wrong attitude when he says, well, if my sons go through it, so be it, but in my days, hey, everything's good. Well, that's not the right attitude. Let's do all we can for generations beyond us, because the Lord may not come back tomorrow. The Lord may not come back in another 20 or 40 years. You don't know that. Everybody said it was going to happen in my day, and it didn't happen. I know it's going to happen. But it did not happen, and we need to be prepared and lay the groundwork and help these people that are young right now and don't know all these things, but give them something so when they do get a little bit more age on them, we've done all we could do is what I'm saying. So let's get a hold of God. Let's do what we can. Don't be disengaged, and to be prepared to let your voice be known at the ballot box, and also just try to be an influence as best you can. So I hope you have a great Saturday and Sunday. We'll see you on Monday with a brand new series. God bless you.